What's up gamers, Cryptico here, and welcome back to Lowering the Mark, a show where I analyze the current and former world records of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe time trial runs to see how these records get faster over time. We'll look at elements such as the loadout, racing lines, and mushroom usage to better understand what's bringing these times down. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the notification bell to be the first to know when my videos go live. For today's episode, we're taking a look at a course that's from a completely different franchise, Hyrule Circuit at 200cc. On April 30th, 2017, the world record for this run was set at 1 minute 23.937 seconds by the Japanese player Hyrule, and a few years later, on March 19th, 2020, the record was brought down to 1 minute 20.667 seconds by American legend SuperFX. That's a 3.2 second improvement between records and a 3.9% faster time. Our former world record holder Hyrule has broken 59 world records across 3 unique runs and has spent over 790 days holding at least one world record. He's also got the record on the alternate CC for this very course, so it will be interesting to see how he fares at 200cc. Our current world record holder SuperFX has broken over 150 world records across 25 unique runs and has spent basically every day since release holding at least one world record. This is one of the 2 world records he currently holds that's keeping his 1400 day world record streak alive. Now, usually I do a pretty good job at examining these runs, but every now and then I do need a little help, so I called in a friend to help me out with this episode. Come on out.
Hello everyone, I'm SuperFX, and today I'm going to talk about my world record on Hyrule Circuit 200cc.
You might remember SuperFX from episode 15 where he talked about his then world record on Mario Kart Stadium. Well, today he's back on the show and anxious to talk about his world record for Hyrule Circuit, so let's get into it. At pre-release, the world record was really slow before some good players came along and brought it down under 123 and kept shaving off even more tenths of a second on their way down to the first 121 by English player Ryan 5. At the start of 2018, French player Zener broke Ryan's hold on this course and held the record for a while before SuperFX came in and started what would become a 250-day reign on this course, one that was cut short by Japanese player Yoshi, but a new reign would soon take its place. SuperFX came back and put up 6 faster times, grabbing the first 120 in the process and establishing a reign that lasted nearly 2 full years. In total, the world record was broken only 38 times by 14 different players. These loadouts are pretty far apart in terms of performance, and it's pretty obvious as to why. Hyrule goes with the combo of Link driving the Splat Buggy cart with the slim wheels and the Hylian Kite glider. On the other hand, SuperFX goes with the combo of Roy driving Mr. Scooty with the roller wheels and the Cloud glider. Right off the bat, we notice that there's a huge gap in the top speed stat with the advantage sticking with Hyrule, and you'd think that would be complemented by a huge handling advantage for SuperFX, but that isn't the case. He only leads in that category by around half a point. Where he does hold the advantage, however, is in the acceleration and mini-turbo stats. And I say advantage to be polite. Look at that. There's more than 2 points difference in acceleration and mini-turbo, which is just insane to think about. He definitely comes away with the better equipped loadout for this run. This is probably one of the most straightforward courses I've ever covered. The layout and attention to detail are really nice, and at 200cc, it's quite a chaotic race and an even more impressive time trial because of all the short turns and narrow pathways. Hyrule hits a rocket start out of the gate and hops into a drift around the first turn where he'll release a quick mini turbo and hop pretty far into this grass patch. He'll use his first mushroom here and come out of it charging up a super mini turbo before hitting the glider ramp.
For the start of the run, I initiate a left drift and mini turbo to collect the first rupee. I then shroom when I land and take the 3 rupees ahead, releasing a super mini turbo into the glider.
Now that pretty much looked like the same thing, but one key difference is that the Ultra Mini Turbo he got opposed to Hyrule's Super Mini Turbo. That serves as the first time save that's going to build up his lead here shortly, even though right now it only sits at 9 1/1000ths of a second going into S2. After hitting the trick off the glider and grabbing a few coins, Hyrule goes into a really tight turn in which he has to brake drift a bit before releasing an Ultra Mini Turbo and very carefully weaving through the castle and grabbing another jump boost to close out this section.
I collect the rupee in the glider and then get a rupee on the ground, initiate a left drift and brake drift after I enter the first step. I release my Ultra Mini Turbo, initiate a left drift and collect a rupee, charging a mini turbo and releasing it and tricking afterwards, and perform a right hop before the ramp for alignment.
Now you're starting to notice what's different here. That extra mini turbo before the jump boost, along with a longer lasting mini turbo, are without a doubt a huge reason why SuperFX's lead has grown to over 0.3 of a second going into S3. After hitting that jump boost, Iru goes for this no item shortcut by charging up a mini turbo and hopping at just the right time to carry his speed over this grass patch. When he lands, he'll chain a normal and super mini turbo together before hitting one more jump boost to close out the lap.
I initiate a right drift, brake at the end, and release a mini turbo. I charge another mini turbo when I land and release a super mini turbo and trick at the end.
That's basically another way of saying I also hit the Nisk and grabbed a few mini turbos before the end of that lap. We'll take a closer look on lap 2 because SuperFX actually improves upon this Nisk by taking it a bit tighter. After one lap of pretty precise driving, SuperFX leads Iru by over 0.8 of a second. After carrying some momentum from lap 1, Iru just hits that same mini turbo hop onto the grass patch for another mushroom cut before taking a tighter turn on the exit since there aren't any coins to collect and grabbing a super mini turbo before the glider ramp.
Lap 2 and 3 are pretty much the same, although now with 10 rupees, I can take a better shroom cut. Same as before, I charge a super mini turbo around the corner.
Like lap 1, there isn't anything that different between these two runs. Something we didn't see on lap 1 is how much time SuperFX got back on his lead, a lead that now sits at just over a second at the end of S1. About the only thing I can tell you about Iru's S2 is that he takes a tighter drift down these stairs entering the castle. He still grabs that ultra mini turbo and weaves around to the ramp once he's inside.
With no more rupees to collect, I do the same thing I did on lap 1. I do the same brake drifts, mini turbo tricks, and right hop alignment.
No need for me to chime in here because he's right. That same drift, jump boost, and alignment hop at the end add a few more tenths to his lead, which now sits at 1.3 seconds at the end of S2. The only thing I can really tell you about this section is that Iru actually messes up on the Nisk here. He doesn't get the air he needs and ends up having to perform extra hops to get back up to speed before those final turns in which he gets those same mini turbos and jump boost before the finish line.
Similar to lap 1, I initiate a right drift and mini turbo over the gap, initiate a left drift, mini turbo, and then initiate a right drift and super mini turbo over the ramp.
The reason that he gains so much time here is because he cuts on the right side of this tree instead of the left, which is a more direct line over the grass and back onto the course. He keeps all his speed up and is able to take a tighter line, which is the reason he's able to extend his lead to over 2 seconds after outsplitting Iru's lap by 2 by 1.3 seconds. SuperFX and I both agree that this lap is really similar to the previous one, so we're just going to glance over it. And I figure now is as good a time as ever to tell you that after episode 40, I'll be taking a break from this series as I do every 10 episodes. Though this break might last a little longer. Not that I don't love making this series, but after 40 episodes, I think I just need to disconnect for a while. This is not meant to be taken as a cancellation of the series, just letting you know that it may or may not be a while before I come back with season 5. Now back to the race. Lap 3 was pretty much just lap 2 again, which means SuperFX just flexes his superiority on every time save one last time to come across the finish line and post a time that was 3.2 seconds faster than Iru's former world record. So by taking slightly better lines, hitting longer lasting mini turbos, and taking a tighter no item shortcut on all 3 laps, SuperFX was able to crown himself as the fastest racer in Hyrule and put up a record that's almost a year old. I was able to get a few words from him, so let's hear what he had to say about that. What was going through your mind when you set this world record?
So after I got the world record, I pretty much just thought of it like any other world record I got. I thought it was a decent run and just stopped playing afterwards. The current world record that I have right now is nothing too special, but it's a very consistent run and a very inconsistent track, which is why after I got the run, I decided to stop playing the track afterwards.
Which fail is mostly responsible for your resets? Hitting a wall, missing a mini turbo, or missing a no item shortcut?
The no item shortcut at the end is notorious for failing not just my runs, but many other people's runs in the worldwide top 10. Pretty much that's where I would fail a lot.
This is one of the 8 tracks that you've set a 200cc world record on. Where does this one rank in terms of difficulty and being able to get a full run in, much less a world record?
Hyrule Secret Ranks is a very difficult track to get a full run in, mainly because of the 2 inconsistent strats being the no item shortcut at the very end, and then also the brake drift going after the glider. Sometimes you can get random air on there, which is very annoying because getting it consistently is very difficult. So yeah, getting a full run in Hyrule Circuit that is decent and consistent is very difficult. The reason why the best known splits are as far as they are now is because of the ending no item shortcut. It's very difficult to get it consistently. In my current world record, I do the no item shortcuts decently, but they could be done much better. And in the best known splits, they do the no item shortcut very well. Anyway, that's all from me. So thank you Cryptico for having me on your world record episode. Take care.
Thank you so much for coming back on the show. Hopefully we can link up again soon. The worldwide top 10 consists of 6 national and 4 continental record holders. SuperFX sits at the top, French record holder Army sits a few tenths behind him, and Asian record holder Amon rounds out the top 3 just 1/100th of a second behind him. Oceanic record holder Panda sits in 4th with one of only 4 times in the world under 121. 5th through 8th place belong to a few well-known players and are separated by just over 1/10 of a second. You got Norwegian record holder Pi in 5th, and French player Ziner, Japanese player Tane, and Australian player Anthony go 6, 7, and 8. The bottom 2 players at this leaderboard are separated by just 6/1000ths of a second and include American player Italic and England record holder Forlaps. SuperFX's records have definitely stood the test of time, and for the most part they seem out of reach, but this leaderboard is full of talent that could give him a run for his money. Guess we'll just have to wait and see. That's the end of episode 39. Hope you all enjoyed it. Big thanks to SuperFX for coming back on the show and talking about his world record run. Be sure to tune in to the Season 4 finale next Monday at 9 AM. As always, if you enjoyed this video, like and share it with your friends and comment on which course you'd like me to analyze next. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.